The Rainbow That Bridges Centuries, Johnny Hauer, Lawrence McGee, Jasmine Shaler. This is the rainbow bridge scene from a larger scroll by Zhang Zheduan, titled Xingming Sheng Tu, meaning Spring Festival on the River, or along the river during the Xingming Festival. Its creation is dated to the early 12th century. The scroll measures in total 10 inches high and 17 feet long, and the original was painted monochrome ink on silk. The many reproductions and copies of the scroll have added color. Its creation date and subject matter are tied to the Northern Song dynasty of China. Zhang Zheduan, also known as Zheng Dao, is a famous Chinese painter that created some of the most famous Chinese paintings. His paintings have great historical and artistic merit, as his artwork reveals much about the Song culture. Zheng Dao was born in 1085 during the Northern Song dynasty in Shandong province. He learned how to paint during his time in Beijing. Local legend says that Emperor Huizong was on the hunt for an amazing painter, so he sent his chancellor, Keijing, to look for these outstanding artists at Xiangguo Temple, where many showcased their skills. There, Keijing found Zhang, a gifted painter who had been roaming the country for most of his life. The emperor capitalized on his working knowledge of the city from his wanderings and commissioned a painting of the city. Zhang, from an isolated hut, would create the most famous piece along the river during the Qingming Festival, which intensely detailed a realistic depiction of Song society, since the working people, their tools, their houses, buildings, are not just featured but emphasized. Innately, his truthful depiction of society took a critical look at the limits and dynamic of class relationships within the Song dynasty. It makes it very important for historians as it greatly contributes to gaining a holistic picture of Song culture and society. Its realistic depiction of life was in contrast to the popular abstract landscape painting of the Song court. Therefore, his work was not favored by many other royals except Emperor Huizong. Posthumously, he garnished many accolades for his work, if not while he was alive. He would live a long life, dying in 1145 at age 60. The scene's prominent feature is a large bridge, curved in perspective from the left, connecting two sides of a riverbank from an aerial view. Reading from right to left, the bottom right features the tiled rooftops of houses and small human figures under trees, as well as what appears to be a merchant's boat docked on the shore. The trees are rendered with detailed, knotty trunks, but simple foliage consisting of wet brush dotting. 3 other boats appear on the river, 2 with sterns facing the viewer or slightly offset, and 1 horizontal on the page. All of the boats have tall masts, human figures along the decks, and have a line of square, almost building-like structures vertical on the deck, with various roofs and cargo. The horizontal and largest boat appears to be preparing to pass under the bridge. Its mast is tilted backwards to allow for height. Oarsmen are rowing it, and various ropes connect it to people underneath the bridge above the waterline. The top right of the scroll features a much wider bank complete with a small town, more trees in various styles, and a wide road forming an L shape along the entrance to the bridge in riverbank. Many human figures are clustered or walking in pairs along the road, as well as carts, hand or shoulder baskets, and oxen. At the top, middle, and left of the scene, in the background, directly above the bridge, there is a more detailed town or walled community structure. The buildings in front and walls in the back form a slanted rectangle that is aligned with the bridge. It once again has tiled roofs with detailed trees, as well as a small but intricate gate set to the left side of the wide road. Within the structure, there are larger buildings, including a multi-story detailed building at the far end, suggesting a wealthy household. Beyond the structure is another wide field or road with very small, ill-defined human figures walking, and at the top left there is a cluster of people on horseback in the process of riding out across a larger plain. Finally, following the natural motion of the scroll, is the large bridge. The construction and sides of the bridge are painstakingly detailed with stone blocks, and an intricate carving along one arch side is visible. The bridge is lined with merchant stalls and simple thatched roofs. Many human figures, fairly detailed for their size, appear walking along the bridge in both directions or stopping at the merchant stalls. They have diversity of class shown in their styles of fashion, horseback, palanquins, and whether they are carrying goods. At the foreground, bottom left, the bridge leads to a small plaza of similar construction, similarly filled with people. A large cart full of hay is visible, as well as multiple canopies or picnic areas that many figures are sitting under. The canopies are varied from umbrellas to flat squares. Last, the roof of a more elaborate tiled building and trees appears from the center bottom of the plaza, creating depth. The brushwork of the scroll remains highly thinned and detailed, with large blots only used for tree foliage and necessary shading. This hand-painted silk scroll is over 17 feet long and captures the daily activities of festival goers during the annual Qingming Festival. The original version is located in Beijing's Palace Museum where it is on display, but it has suffered the ravages of time and is quite faded. This is the Qing Court version, one of many copies of the original produced throughout subsequent centuries. It was created by 5 artists of the Qing Court: Chen Mei, Sun Hu, Jin Kun, Dai Hong, and Cheng Jidao, and is the most revered and famous copy. It is such a popular image that it has been placed on postcards and jigsaw puzzles, was made into a children's book, and has been the subject of countless documentaries and magazine articles. Its significance lies in its depiction of everyday life amongst all classes of people as they enjoy the goings-on of a national festival. This festival, rife with ceremony, is a traditional day of remembrance to honor one's ancestors. Qingming is translated as tomb sweeping or pure brightness and is celebrated across all demographics as a way to pay tribute to those who have come before. Because of the almost religious nature of the celebration, depictions generally focus on the solemnity of the occasion instead of the lively festivities revelers engage in. This seminal work draws its importance from its subject matter, visually documenting the activities of citizens engaged in merriment. The amount of realism contained within the scroll is historic. Merchants are depicted selling their wares, rural farmers are shown managing their fields, the wealthy members of the aristocracy are painted in all their finery and grand surroundings, while the poor are shown bluntly, in their impoverished state, finding ways to celebrate with few resources. It is important to note that much debate has focused on this scroll. Scholars have argued over the title and whether it is meant to represent the Qingming festival specifically, or only a general celebration by the river. There have also been questions regarding the exact location of the city, as well as its name. Some have argued it is Kaifeng, the ancient capital of the Northern Song dynasty, while others maintain it is a fictitious interpretation from the artist's imagination. Here are 6 versions of the Rainbow Bridge. Notice the original at the top left. Our Qingming Court version is at the bottom right. If we compare the 2 images, on the left we see Guaozhi's early spring, and on the right is a segment from the Rainbow Bridge scroll. We notice that while the trees are similar, the subject varies. The focus on the left centers around nature, while the focus on the right is all about the people, their buildings, and what they're doing. Looking at this hand scroll, are there traditional brush strokes you can identify? What social classes are represented in the images? How can you identify them? In your opinion, should the attribution change because it is only a copy of the original, or are you satisfied with Zhang Juidan being named as sole artist and it being referred to as just the Qing Court version? I would like to thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed this exploration of the Rainbow Bridge.